I learned about ownership, the Nipseys, the Roddy Riches, just all the people that's from LA just be successful. It brings a type of different attachment whenever you can see it, and I definitely get that point.
It's the exposure piece. Once you get the exposure, it can change you. Your mind can change, and your mind expands.
Hold your applause, I ain't done yet. Immortality got me weary since Kobe died. I got this watch on my arm, but I'll never know my time. So my focus lies in my work, which got me in overdrive. I can't break for a day. I'm in a maze of my mind. I can't make an escape.
I got a brand new episode. Man, I'm so excited, so relieved. This is a person that I've been watching for a minute, just following his page. And man, what you do, first off, introduction is Rob Cruz. He trains kids. He also helps organizations. Man, I'm not gonna lie, he does so many things. Whenever I introduce him, I'm gonna let him really get to it because he wears a lot of hats and I don't want to shortchange him.
Gotcha.
But man, Rob Cruz, man, thank you so much for joining the show, man.
It's really good to be here. Thank you for having me, Trey.
Man, for sure. I said a little introduction, but introduce yourself. Just let the people know more in depth about your business and what you do.
Okay. So my name is Rob Cruz. I'm the founder of a little company called Complete Game. It started out as a book. It started out as a book first, and then I just branded the company with the title of the book, which is Complete Game. And what I do is I work with baseball and softball players all throughout the country. I work with coaches, teams, organizations, and programs. And basically, I call it I call it human development because we're focusing on the person and working with developing the person as we develop the athlete and the skill set at the same time. So a lot of it is mental, emotional, but a lot of it is me understanding and knowing the ins and outs and how movement occurs with regards to mostly hitting. But I also do a lot of technology implementation. I work with some colleges with regards to tech and technology and understanding technology and how to implement the data and the information that we gather from technology to be able to create customized game plans for athletes to help them to develop further in whatever they're doing. So it's a lot of different things, but it's all fun and I love what I do. So I'm just enjoying life right now.
That's a lot, like from organizations to coaches to kids. And I think that's amazing, all the things that you do and just, your passion to help, just to give information and to teach. I feel like today's time, like a lot of that is lost, like the teaching, people just wanting to give. Everybody wants to be the person that everybody like, oh my God, but they not want to give the information. It's a lot of gatekeeping going on.
I understand that. I understand that. Yeah. I think the gatekeeping comes, you want to go into that. I think the gatekeeping mentality comes from different individuals in terms of whether they had lack or whether they don't have lack.
Right.
Because the ability to give back is what true success is. That's like a part of it. Having the ability and the security, because I think gatekeeping comes from insecurity.
For sure. Yeah.
And then being able to say, hey, you know what, it's time, or I'd love to be able to help other people because you're not taking anything away from me by me helping you to become really good.
Right. And I'm really into like Nipsey Hussle is one of my favorite just people on the earth. And he said the greatest human act is to inspire. And I think that people miss the point of when it comes to gatekeeping on whenever you inspire, whenever you can give somebody the formula to help them proceed or just be better in life, I feel like you help them, but you can also impact a generation. Like I think about the work you're doing and I think about how you impact not only just yourself and kids, but you're going to impact those kids for whenever they have kids to impact a generation. And I think that's the missing point of gatekeeping. Like you want people to be like, oh, it's you, but you literally have the ability to impact the generation and you hold back,
Yeah. So I started a coaching certification program, right, that I do online now.
Right.
So it's a whole course that I created that takes coaches through a certification, specifically baseball and softball coaches who are teaching hitting, right? But we're still teaching life, no matter what sport or whatever we're doing, whatever discipline we're doing, we're still teaching life skills, right? But the ability to empower more coaches helps me to be able to get the message and the philosophy to more kids because I can't coach every kid. I don't have the time, right? But if I can coach coaches and they coach their kids,
right.
then we can reach more. We can get the essence of what the fundamentals really entail to reach more young people and get them to maybe inspire them to even become coaches and inspire them to even just get their lives together through sport. So. Yeah. So good.
That's amazing. That's amazing. What would make a kid from Jersey? You know, so you grew up in Jersey, am I right?
So I grew up in New York. I'm a New Yorker.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a native New Yorker.
New York. Okay.
Westchester County, which is a suburb of New York City.
Okay.
New Rochelle to be exact. So it hip hop. Let's just take hip hop because most people are familiar with hip hop music and influence on it.
Yeah.
Where I grew up there's 3 cities: Mount Vernon, New Rochelle, and Yonkers. Right. Those are like the 3 Westchester cities. So Yonkers, you got DMX, The Lox, Mary J. Blige. Right. Mount Vernon, you had Pete Rock, CL Smooth, Heavy D and the Boys.
Okay.
Denzel Washington's from Mount Vernon also.
Okay.
And then
greatest actor generation.
And in New Rochelle, where I grew up, is you had the Brand Nubians with Grand Puba Maxwell. You know, so we had there's a real it's a talent bed. You know, a lot of really good. A lot of prominent people are from those areas, and that's inspiring. When you see everybody around you successful, you're like, I could do something. I could do it too. They could do it. I could do it. So being able to be around that and go to high school with those guys and see them in the hallways and see them at the store, comedians and, you know, all these different types of disciplines, you know, so it's always good to be able to touch and see the people that can inspire you also. So
for sure. I think just touching on that, I think that's a point that a lot of people miss out on when it comes to being around people and seeing it. I think whenever I grew up, I'm from like a very, very small town in Louisiana, and I always had big dreams of like, I want to do this and I want to do that. But once I was very fortunate to have talent in basketball, and once I got on the AAU circuit and I started meeting different people outside of my city, I seen somebody that's successful, you know, drive the cars, have the money, you know, take the trips. And I just felt like it indulged a whole bunch of confidence in me, because whenever I was going back to my small town and they'll be like, Trey, what you about to do? I'm like, man, I'm about to get up out of here. Like, bro, I'm going to move to, you know, and they like, you going to move to, whenever I first graduated, I moved to Los Angeles. So I went from literally one of the smallest like states in the world to the biggest, you know, arguably just market, whatever. Like LA it's so much. But whenever I was out there, I seen success and I seen it very close to me, and it opened up my mind because I never thought that I could be able to do. I learned about ownership and even just podcast and wanting to do this, like from watching the Nipseys, the Roddy Riches, and just all the people that's from LA just be successful. And it brings a type of different attachment whenever you can see it. And I definitely get that point. I definitely
it's the exposure piece. Like if you once you get the exposure, it can change you, and your mind can change. And your mind expands. You've expanded your horizon. You got the exposure when you went to the AU circuit. You were exposed to this, exposed to that. Your mind expanded. Your imagination changed, and then you saw yourself. You're like, yo, I could do something a little different than what I'm seeing, because I've seen it. I've been exposed to it. It's like when you take a kid to go see the pyramids. Take a kid, let's go see the pyramids. Like, what the heck? Yeah, you know, and you're like, now your mind expands.
Right. Yeah, no, I feel like it's like that when you travel.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
some people don't get on planes, but when you're on a different part of the world, you meet different people from different countries. It show you like how big the world is, and it's just so crazy because which this is gonna get me into my next topic, but I want to talk about the accountability and discipline that was instilled in you whenever you was young. And you kind of said something on a podcast with Brianna. You was like, the accountability and discipline instilled in you when you young determines your mental resilience. And before I let you speak on that really hit me. First off, shout out to her. I tried to get her on the pod. We had technical difficulties, but I definitely went on the pod.
We go back to she used to do some work with the Yankees back in the days when I was working with the Yankees a little bit on some projects.
Okay.
And that's how I crossed paths. And she was young doing it big. And I was like, she's going to be it.
We're going to talk about it after, but I need you to help me get on the pod.
I will.
Yeah, but I want to talk to you about that because just that statement, the accountability and discipline that you have when you're young determines your mental resilience. And whenever I was very young, I lost my father at a very young age, like when I was a baby. So I was raised with a single parent. but the discipline and the accountability that she held on me as a single mom, and me being a Black African-American man, but teaching me like how to encounter both worlds. Yes, we live here. We don't live in the absolute trenches, but obviously everybody have family members that do wrong or do bad. So, you're exposed to that. I was exposed to that at an early age.
Yep.
But my mom was so disciplined on me, and, she built so much things into me and held me so accountable for my actions to where she didn't allow me to make excuses. Whenever I didn't do it, I didn't do it. Whenever it was time to be disciplined, I was disciplined. It wasn't I'm going to let you, like, my mom didn't believe in that because she was preparing me for life outside of the house. And not only, how most people of our age our African-American, they say like, the cops and all that. But no, she was preparing me for the world, because you're going to be held accountable for bills. You're going to be held accountable for the type of person you are. You're going to be held accountable for the things that you do and what you say. And if somebody can follow your word. So I love that quote on the accountability and that for the mental resilience, because you have to have mental resilience in this world, and people take that for granted. But I want you to speak on that.
So, okay, I can do that. So first, I would say this. I would say, I think I want to try to separate mental from emotional. Okay. Yep. Even though they're both faculties that can occur in the brain, right?
Right.
But the mental would be the discipline, and emotional would be the resiliency.
Okay.
Because our emotions can bend different ways, and according to who you are and what type of values were instilled in you as a young person, if your emotion could take you in a positive direction, or your emotion could take you in a negative direction.
Right.
Like my emotion about a particular thing could cause me to like want to give up, or my emotion could cause me to want to fight even harder. Right. So I think my parenting, like my parents, who are to this day my role models. Right. My mom was also a single mom, but I always had really positive, strong male influence in my life.
Right.
Which is important. Yeah, and she had the wisdom to know that was important, and make sure that I had positive male energy also in my life. So she was a discipline. My mom is to this day. I'm still scared of her. You know what I'm saying? The fear, like I don't want to, because I wouldn't want to hurt my mom's feelings. I wouldn't want to disappoint her. So that inspires me. Like I'm always trying to make sure that I do the right thing, because my mom is gonna know. She's gonna find out. She's gonna see.
I always had this thing with me because I grew up and I had a lot of cousins that got in trouble, and especially like meeting people playing basketball. You meet people from all past of the, I met people that, come from the trenches and jail, all that, and one of the things that was very vital to me, and I always had this mindset, is I never want to put my mom into a courtroom or a graveyard. And what I mean by that is I feel like some people take chances and take risks and try to take the easy way out. And the love that you have for your mother is something that's inexplainable. It's core deep for, I feel like, everybody.
Yep.
And my thing was, I don't ever want my mom to have to look at me in those two circumstances, whether it be a courtroom or a graveyard, like having my mom bury me for me making bad choices. And so I definitely get that, and that's kind of how my mindset was wired to the thing. And I also love that because mental resilience is something that you need whenever you're doing the sport that you do. And this jumps me into the next topic, because you said most hitters' emotions are attached to the outcomes and not the process. And I actually love that, because most people want the results, but the results can only come to how you want them with the process, and the process of you getting better. And I love how you reference that, because I feel like that's a lot on life too.
Absolutely.
Because if you focus on the process of you getting better, the outcome is inevitable. You're gonna get there. But when you focus on the outcome, you don't build the formula you need for the process to you to get the outcome you want. Now, that's how I took from it, but I want you to give me your perspective.
So it comes down to the words you just ended with, perspective. And when I'm working with young athletes, young impressionable athletes especially, outcome. I was talking about this last night, actually. Outcomes are for the parents, and the process is for the athlete.
I like that.
The parents want to see outcome. Like, you ain't get no hits. You struck out 4 times, right? And that's understandable. That's understandable. But as an athlete, the safest place for me to be is rooted in the process. And I want to try to be process oriented, process driven, but not outcome driven. Because the outcomes, that's, you're focusing on the failure. You're focusing on the successes, dangerous, and you're focusing on the failures, dangerous. And it's hard to maintain that middle ground, just to get, in terms of emotional context. So, for example, when I ask players, well, how's your game? And they say, I went 4 for 4 or I went 0 for 4. I don't want to hear stats, because you can go 4 for 4 as a hitter. You can hit successfully, but you didn't hit the ball hard, but they just dropped in. You can go 0 for 4, and you hit the ball really hard, but you hit it right at people. So the stats, which are the outcomes, don't really tell me how well of a game you played. But if you tell me that you hit the ball hard, that's better, because that's rooted in something that's more, that's a sustainable mindset.
Right.
It's a safer place to be, and I'm keeping myself grounded and rooted in process. And in life, we call that core values. Like everybody got a code. You know what I'm saying? So my code is my process. My code is my process, and my core values are my process, and I stay with my core values. If I stay there, it's not about how much money I made or how much money I lost, or if I'm up, if I'm down, if I'm eating peanut butter and jelly, if I'm eating lobster. I know how to stay with the process, because I have my core values in place.
I love that. I heard you say something, and I'm just going through, I heard you say certain coaches recruit mindset. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so I think there's an energy that comes with being a fit. So somebody's like, if I'm a college coach and I'm recruiting an athlete, or even if I'm an AAU basketball coach and I'm recruiting athletes, right? I gotta have that meeting, that face-to-face personal meeting with the athlete and the family to get a sense of what frequency are they vibrating on? Do they actually fit into what we're doing in terms of the level of focus and the level of drive that they have to be in my program? So I'm always gonna be looking for those athletes that are the fit into what I'm doing. Okay. So most athletes don't. Most people don't. So when I'm looking for those specific athletes, if you have the mindset, I can bet on me as a coach to help you get you where we want to go, and you can fit into what we're doing. But if you don't have the mindset, but you just got the talent, that's going to come and go according to the challenges. You're going to have these. You're going to hit your ebbs and flows. Are going to be like this. You want your ebbs and flows to be this way, but you don't want your ebbs and flows to be this way.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
For me, a lot of things encompass mindset. Positive mental attitude. People always talk about being a great teammate, or being a bad teammate, or being positive influence on your teammates, or being a coachable athlete. You know what I'm saying? This athlete's coachable, this athlete's not coachable. Those are some of the things that, for me, when I'm building I'm building athletes up and I'm training them, I have to focus on mentality. I have to focus on mental toughness, because it's different things about mindset. Mindset it could be mental toughness. It could be emotional resilience. It could be what I like to call bulletproof confidence.
Bulletproof confidence. Talk about that.
So bulletproof confidence. As a matter of fact, it's funny. Like, I got to do a speech. I'm actually doing a talk on bulletproof confidence and how do we instill it. So confidence is built. Like, we build confidence. I think some people, I'm confident if I'm going well.
Yeah.
Right.
Sure.
If everything's going well,
yeah.
My chest is puffed out and I'm confident when I'm going well. But if you watch certain athletes, certain like Hall of Fame level, maybe All-American athletes, they can make an error, take a bad shot, even strike out, and their demeanor and their body posture and their body language don't change. That's bulletproof confidence, because I am not that last play. Right. That's just something that happened.
Yeah.
And I need the ball back. I need the ball again, because Steph Curry gonna keep shooting.
Yeah, you're right.
He might go 2 for 20.
Right.
He's not gonna stop shooting it. And when he gets home, if he has a bad game, when he get home, he ain't even thinking about it, because tomorrow Steph Curry's shooting again. That's bulletproof confidence. But for me to be at the plate and say, okay, I had a bad at bat, last at bat. Now I'm taking pitches down the middle. I lost that's not bulletproof confidence, because you're not really your last at bat. You're not really your last opportunity. You're really your next opportunity. You're always your next opportunity.
I like that.
Like, I'm never my last. I'm never my last success. I'm my next one. I'm never my last failure. I'm my next opportunity.
I love how you spoke on the bulletproof confidence, and I feel like I feel like you're so right about mostly athletes too that go through those things. And I feel like that's what separate people when they get to the ultimate level of the NBA, because everybody's talented. Everybody was great. Everybody averaged 20 or whatever. But are you going to like, I be laughing whenever I talk to kids or we just having discussions about hoop and stuff. And it's like, do people really understand how hard Steph works to be able to take the shots that he's taken in the game? Because some of those shots is just like how people be scratching their heads and going crazy. The amount of reps you have to have, the mental focus that you have to lock in that much and to say on the biggest of stages when millions are watching me every day, I'm still going to shoot that shot. And even if I miss that, I'm going to shoot that shot. And it's no knock, but I look at somebody like Russell Westbrook, who coming down towards the end of his year now, Westbrook used to have crazy confidence. Like if we go back to him and Durant in the finals, you back off Russ, it's going up. But to see it now, and don't get me wrong, Russell's still a very confident player. I'm just talking about a certain area.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. It's I just look at the demeanor that are just having crazy confidence, or somebody like Anthony Edwards, who, before the series, like, shoot, hey, they say he the best two guard in the league with Devin Booker and Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant, my idol, but I can't wait to send him home before the series, and then he gets it done. And I think about whenever people look at that, most people will say, oh, these people are this. And this is where I come from, the be different mindset of my brand. It's like you're special in your own way. You're not going to be Steph Curry, but if you can take some of the pieces that you like about Steph Curry and instill it in you, then you can be successful in whatever field that you're on. So as far as like the crazy confidence thing, like I remember starting my podcast 3 years ago and posting, not getting no likes. Matter of fact, I lost more followers on Instagram than I gained. Man, like it's because whenever you first start something, like you're jumping out in the water, but my confidence never wavered. Like people would be like, bro, you still posting that? You ain't get no likes, no nothing. I'm like, nah, I'll be cool, bro. I'm telling you. Trust me, I'm going to be cool. And to see it like blossom now, my closest friends around me like, bro, you got crazy confidence. But
that's good.
It's like, I've always been like that. Like I've never like wavered on that. Like anything I was ever scared of, I was like, oh shoot, I gotta go try that. Like, cause I want to be confident in this. Now I'm not gonna say I'm the best at everything, but if we playing something, I'm confident that I'm gonna win.
You know? So I want to add to something about the confidence piece. When you read a lot of books, or if you listen to audiobooks or however you consume your
I do a lot of audiobooks.
So audiobooks, reading books, listening to certain types of podcasts, and they have certain guests on there, particularly like the really successful business people. And a lot of sports mindset coaches are going to say the same thing. We never really rise to the occasion. That's not sustainable. I'm not always going to every day show up and always rise to the occasion. That's not something that I can do every day. 84 games a season, 162 games a season, right? Over the course of a season. Yeah. Because it's just not sustainable. But what I will do is I will probably fall to the level of my preparation and the level of my training.
Ooh, that's tough.
So if I can't rise to the occasion, cool. Yeah. So that's why when I train my kids, I hold them especially accountable to the focus. The focus part. Because if you're not able to have the focus that you need, and if you're not able to really lock in offensively or defensively, there's only but so far you can go because your consistency will not be there. Right. Especially if you're telling me that you want to play high level. If a player walks in the door and I'm identifying them as a person that has the potential to play high level and in terms of like levels, then my job now becomes a little bit different for you because you're getting ready to go to like maybe like the SEC or something like that, where the competition is clearly different. Right. And because I know what that looks like, I also know what it doesn't look like. And I'm like, no, that ain't it. You don't even show up. Because that goes back to mindset, right? Because like the mindset kids are showing up in their uniform coming from a high school game to their training. The kids that aren't mindset kids have an excuse. I can't make it. I have a game. I got 4 people in here with dirt on their uniforms that just came from a game. Right. Mindset.
A great topic. LeBron and JJ Redick podcast. LeBron said there's a difference between being obsessed and just basically like playing the game because you love it. And he was talking about the obsession And he's like, and JJ Redick was saying the same thing. He said, JJ Redick said, I was so obsessed with being great. And obviously the obsession comes with love, but it's a difference. And he's like, I was so obsessed with being great and to, carve my way out to have the dreams that I want, that it was second nature for me to, okay, yeah, I'm gonna rest here, and I'm getting straight to it. Like I'm not, and I'm gonna be obsessive. Okay, I made 500. I can't go no more. Okay, 100 more. Like just being obsessed with the sport, studying the sport. Kobe said the same thing. Kobe Bryant said he would read different books and things of like, man, my hands are not big, so I need to read on how I can strengthen my hands. It's such an underlying part that most kids miss when it comes to training or anything. You're like, man, you're not giving enough.
Yeah, but I think you're talking about LeBron and Kobe, and those are the elite of the elite.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's
I've only in my 25-year coaching career, I've only had like maybe two.
Yeah. No,
that were like that. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
I've only had like two.
No,
so
sure.
I'm kind. So my thing for me is like, right. Can I coach an elite athlete? Yes, I think it's easy to coach an elite athlete.
Okay.
Because they don't really have an off button. Like they're going home, they have the obsession. They don't have an off button. If it ain't going to be you that gets them there, it's going to be probably somebody else that gets them there. Because they're going to get there. They're coming out of a household. They're coming from kitchen table talk growing up that prepared them for those moments. They're coming out of a certain ecosystem, right? So, but the kids that are in the middle the kids that are a little bit lower than the middle, that's where the real coaching and the development comes in, because you really got to be good to get a kid who was middle of the road, got cut from this, cut from that, and all of a sudden they're on TV, on ESPN, they're All-American. And that's what I do. I don't coach great athletes. I create great athletes. There's a difference.
I love that.
There's a difference, and it's harder. It's harder to create great athletes. It's easier to coach great athletes.
I like that. That definitely makes sense. This actually leads me to the next one on how you build confidence on excellence and accountability. I kind of want to talk about, I want you to explain that.
Okay. So I always admonish my kids to have a standard.
Okay.
And I don't care if you're 9, 10, or 11. I'm not babysitting. Okay. Stop looking over at your parents every time you take a swing. Stop. Cut the umbilical cord. Parents, can you go to Dunkin' Donuts, come back? Go get a cup of coffee, come back. Because your kid keeps looking at you after every swing. That kid ain't never going to make it. If a kid comes in and I throw them 5 pitches and they hit 5 ground balls, I have to stop them and say, you have to have a standard for what's acceptable in practice, because you're going to go back to your mediocre team and they're going to have a lower standard than what I have in this cage.
Right.
But it's up to you to uphold this standard that we're building together, because this is what it's going to take for you to be better. Otherwise, you're just pumping money into, your parents are just pumping money into this, and you're going to, and everything is going to be mediocre. You go to a mediocre school, everything's mediocre out here. Everybody's doing everything with less excellence. You go into the stores, the people at the cashier, they're on their phones. Right. Nobody's holding them accountable. You can't get no help in the store. Nobody knows the products. You go to Best Buy. I know more about stuff in Best Buy than the people who work there know. They're telling you to go to the wrong place to get something. It didn't used to be like that.
Right.
So the standard has diminished in every aspect of American society. So now when you come into my environment, I can control my environment. We have a standard. We're not huffing and puffing and we have a bad day. And a matter of fact, I want you to come in on a bad day, because I want to see how well you can perform on a bad day, on your worst day, because you're going to have a whole lot of bad days.
Right.
So if you can only do well on a good day, then you're not a good athlete. You can't handle adversity. So the standard has to be set. This is how we do things in this environment. And hopefully if I see 100 players a week, hopefully 10 of them can get it.
Right.
All 100 ain't gonna get it, because they still got to go home to somebody that's not gonna hold them accountability. I don't get to take them home.
Right. I want to ask you. You said something that was very key, and you said you got to have a standard at practice because the standard you hold at a cage might be higher than the standard that somebody will have at practice. Talk about the importance of having a standard for yourself at practice and performing and holding yourself accountable to performing at that level at practice, not just with your trainer or, with you or whatever.
Yeah, I think so. First, I'm gonna say this. Let me say this first. We're living in a time where the kids are very different. And I remember when I was coaching a baseball team, I coached a very successful travel baseball program in Westchester County, a couple of different very successful travel baseball teams. And I mean, like 40 something and 10, like really good records, kids getting drafted, kids going to play, kids going to play pro ball, kids going to colleges, and kids just achieving their dreams. And I got to a point where I was like, I said to my assistant coach, Q, I don't know if I could do this. I don't know if I can drop my standard down to meet the kids where they are, because it's getting lower and lower every year. And I feel like they're going to quit. If I try to hold them accountable to a higher standard that might be too high for them, I think the kids are going to quit.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because they just can't do it. And it's not their fault. It's not their fault. I'm not mad at them for not being able to do it.
Right.
It's the times that we live in.
Yeah.
And the master teacher, the master coach is able to maintain, and I had to learn this. I had to figure this out.
Okay.
And that was a test for me. I had to figure out how to still have a standard, but not expect the kids to come up to my standard. But I had to go down to the kids and bring them up to the standard.
Okay.
And when I figured out how to do that, I was becoming a master coach, and it became a partnership. And I wanted to show them that this is what it takes. Because if you could do this, you can do anything. You could apply this same approach to anything you want to be. Whether you want to be a firefighter, a teacher, a mailman, a surgeon, whatever you want to be, you can apply the same principles to whatever you want to do. And that was my learning. That was my test, though, because I was ready to be like, I'm not doing this no more. These kids are too entitled. I ain't doing it. I was being selfish. And I was in my 20s. I think I was in my late 20s, early 30s. I was still young. I was still trying to figure it out.
For sure.
But that's the thing about standards. I mean, everybody has one. It's just what is your standard?
Yeah.
Everybody has a standard, but my standard is what it is. What I define as excellent may not be what someone else defines as excellent.
Right.
But we want excellence. We don't want perfection, because perfection, I don't even think that's attainable. But we do want excellence. We do want our shirts tucked in. We do want to wear our hats and our equipment properly. We do want to show up on time. We do want to give it our all. We do want to treat others with respect. We do want to be courteous to adults. We do want to show up in a certain way that represents our own personal brand. That's the standard.
For sure. See, I love that. I think something profound what you said in that is, you said you were expecting people to meet you here and you had to come down and then bring them up together. And I feel like not only just in sports, but in life, sometimes people don't understand that you might have experienced your growth earlier than somebody, or it might be an area where, you're just light years ahead of somebody. And instead of judging, maybe it's to judge yourself and say, dang, this person is behind. Why am I judging them? Let me take myself, come down, and then help them meet me where I am, so that now they can see things in my perspective, or they can get a vision of what you feel or what I feel my standard is, So I love that because I feel like some people, it's like they'll judge it, but they won't help, and, obviously different between coaches, but I kind of think it coexists in like life for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I love that. All right. A couple more. I'm going to let you out of here. We almost done.
You good?
I kind of want you to just, talk about your 2 books, man. Really, Complete Game and Swag 101, Improving In-Game Confidence. Let's talk about that. I want to talk about your books and just talk about the goal of the book and what you hope, kids, parents, or whatever would get out the book.
So when I wrote my first book, it's called Complete Game, The Emotional Dynamics of In-Game Focus. And it was a reason why I wrote it, because where I live, where I lived at the time, especially the kids that I was training, we didn't really have grit. These were suburban kids, highly entitled, highly spoiled, I'm gonna say it. And really, when they have to go compete against the kids in the South who have a little more grit, they're a little more blue collar, or even the West, you don't have that. Like we called it heart back when we was coming up.
Yeah.
You ain't got no heart. You ain't got no grit. You ain't tough.
Right.
You understand?
Yeah.
But that's where I was at. That's what I was dealing with. And I had to figure out a way to instill it in the limited amount of time that I had with them.
Right.
Which could have been an hour a week. It could have been 2 hours a week. Now, of course, there were exceptions. There were exceptions.
For sure.
But for the most part, I'm dealing. I called it. I had little nicknames that I would call where we lived, like Entitlement, Entitleville, or whatever, Entitlementville, or whatever. Just little jokes. But But again, it was a problem because
Right.
I'm teaching you the form and I'm teaching you the technique, but that's not going to get it for the dreams that you have. Because
Right.
those kids don't even have the technique, but they got the grit. They're going to beat you every time. So I had to figure, and I didn't really have time to like do mental skills classes.
Right.
And people would not have signed up for it because at that time it wasn't a thing. You know, teach me how to a mental game. It's not wrong with me. I don't need no psychologist. You know, people have that.
For sure. Yeah.
Now mindset coaching
it's different. It's way
it's prevalent,
different.
right? It's prevalent.
For sure.
So at that time, the book was I can give them something and say, hey, read this on your own time, because it's going to help you to understand the different things that you're going through in your mind and in your brain to help you to maybe possibly shift your mentality and your mindset. And then we can start incorporating some things into the teaching and into the lessons. Because if it's 80% mental, we don't really get to always spend 80% of our time on it. And if I did, people wouldn't want to show up because they want to swing the bat. They want to swing. They don't want to learn how to shift their mindset.
Right.
So I had to find a way, like to be able to get through to people who needed that, and my way of doing it was the book, and it was something that it wasn't, and I tried to make it a really small, short book, 75 pages, so that it wouldn't be intimidating. It's really small chapters, a page, 2 pages in a chapter, so it's not like, oh, I'm not reading this chapter, I'm not reading this book, it's too big. There's no excuses, and most people read it, from what I've been told, have read the book multiple times. They take it with them and keep it with them, and it reminds them of, oh, I got to get back to these things. And I got to get back to those things. So that was the complete game book. And that's available on Amazon also as well. And it's kind of, I wouldn't say it's dated because a lot of the stuff in the book is really timeless stuff that are going to always be true no matter what time we're living in. And I specifically wrote it that way on purpose. The second book I wrote, it took me a long time to put it out because it was, I felt like it was a little bit weird. And I'm a nerdy kind of like, I can get out there a little bit, but I felt like people wasn't going to be ready for it. And I didn't have the confidence to put it out because I'm like, they ain't ready for this. Right. So like it was written almost 2.5 years before I actually released the Swag 101 book.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. And that was it was really me talking to coaches more than I was talking to players. But from what I've been told, a lot of players have read it and appreciate it because they like the title, Swag 101. Everybody want to have swag, right? They're thinking if I buy it, I'm gonna have swag. You're not gonna have swag because you read something. But so that book was kind of geared a little bit more towards coaches, and it just gave people more insight to how my mind works with regards to teaching and player development and some of the things that I'm considering that may not be traditional, that are really original thoughts, because I didn't really take other thoughts from somewhere else and apply them. These are things that I came up with specifically, like we should look at it like this without anybody else's influence. It's just inside of my mind, inside of my brain. So that was Swag 101.
I love that. For sure. For sure. Now, y'all definitely go grab it. I'm going to have the books on the screen. I want to talk to you about the importance of the mindset that you teach whenever players are in a slump, and the discipline that you need to be successful to get out of that slump.
So it goes back to, slumps go back to what we talked about earlier, which is being process or outcome oriented. Like if you're an outcome driven person, you're gonna experience more slumps. I was talking to somebody on the phone yesterday because we were cracking jokes. I said, some of y'all ain't in a slump, you just can't hit. If you can't hit, that's not a slump. It's just not. Like you had to be good first to be in a slump. Okay, yeah. You can't just be in a slump. What you're saying, yeah. So we gotta be able to define slump.
That makes sense. So it's like in hoops, somebody saying, "Dang, I'm in a slump and I'm shooting, and you're not a shooter." You know, you like you can't shoot. Yeah, you're a defensive player. Never can shoot. Yeah, you never can shoot. Yeah, that makes sense.
So I'm not, and that's just being real. That's just me being real. I was on the phone with somebody talking yesterday. But I think having it's perspective. Right. So but it's hard to really answer that question because the answer to that question is we already answered it.
Right.
It's the process-driven athlete would never be able to really fully ascertain slump because they know it's part of the process. There's ups and downs. That's why they call it a batting average. It's the average. And hopefully my slumps look like this, and my slumps don't look like this, and then I'm back up. Hopefully I'm down, up, down, up, down, up, and at the end I'm going to have an average.
Right.
That's why they call it a batting average. Because you was never going to bat 1,000 anyway. If I hit 500 and I get 50 hits and 100 at bats, I made 50 outs. 500, that means you're one of the best at whatever level. You are one of the best at whatever level. 400, you're still one of the best. 350, you're still good. It starts trickling down because it's hard. It's hitting. I always tell my kids, hitting is hard. You're going to fail a lot.
Yeah,
and the process oriented people can handle the failure differently than the outcome-driven people. They can handle it because they know they have the mental discipline to stay rooted in the process.
Right. Ooh.
And the people who are going to go deeper and deeper into a slump, it's their outcome perspective is what's keeping them in that slump. It's the outcome. It's just killing them. So that's what it is.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that definitely make a lot of sense. I wanna talk to you. So you coach a lot of different kids, you help coaches or whatever. Mm-hmm. I want you to talk about the importance of not coaching everyone the same. As far as like kids, like for instance, whenever you said you had to instill grit into, you know, the suburb kids and suburban kids and things like that. And before you go, I'm gonna just tell you like my perspective on it. I feel like because I played basketball and I was the point guard, so I had to get everybody involved. But there's certain people I could talk to a certain way, and there's certain people I couldn't because everybody comes from different walks of life. But some people don't process information the same. Like I could tell my homeboy who I used to play with, like, man, you was trash. What are you doing? Like, let's, you know what I'm saying, bro? You missing wide open shots. Are you letting this dude guard you? He can't. And some people are like, bro, what's good? Are you all right? Man, come on, man. Like, bro, you good, bro? You all right? You know, pick your head up. And then there's some people I can say, why you have your head down? You him. What are you doing? So
right.
I feel like in life though, and this sometimes it comes with parenting too. You might have a kid that's very talented, and then the kid under him might not be talented, or vice versa. And you think you could talk to that kid the same, and they're probably too different how they interpret things. Mm-hmm. And I feel like in life, especially because I do like mental health, like I can't talk to every client how I would talk to just like this is my style, this is that. It's like, nah, like you got to be able to listen, observe, and know what type of, like I call it my formula. And I feel like I'm so multi-dimensional. I'm so confident that as soon as I hang and talk to you, I know what formula I need to get through to you and be able to help you. But I know that might work for you. That might not work for your husband. That might not work for your kid. But I know I can go here with you. But I have the confidence to be able to put on different jackets and to fit it. So how do you feel about that? Like as far as the confidence the importance of like knowing not to coach every kid the same.
Well, I think one, the coach/adult has to have what I like to call emotional intelligence.
Explain that.
And being having emotional intelligence means I'm able to kind of really feel the room.
Right. Okay.
And when I'm in front of an individual, I'm going to be able to. This is a good one because I learned this from a guy named Dr. Tom. What's Tom's last name? I can't think of his last name. Oh my gosh! But he's a mental skills coach and he wrote a couple of books. He's worked with the LA Dodgers, and he said that if somebody is talking to you and they're on this level, you should be on this level. If they're on this level, you should be on that level in terms of the energy they're emitting, right?
Right.
Like you're not going to go to somebody who's talking like, yeah, so I'm this way. You're going to be like, oh, are you really? Are you really? You're not going to be, because that's, you're not on the same, you're not on the same wavelength as that individual. Sure. So that's one. And you got to be able to pick that up. So I have the ability and the gift to be able to discern. This is called the gift of discernment, where I can pick up where somebody is and what I can do with that, how I can talk to that individual. And it's a natural gift that I have. And I don't know that it's teachable, but it's something that I have a natural gift for, to be able to talk to somebody where they're at. So when you brought up children in the household, when you're parenting children, it's the same thing. Mm-hmm. You have kids that it's better that you take their phone away, and you have other kids who just need a spanking. If you believe in that, if you believe in spanking. I know we're at different times, but
yeah.
You gotta know.
That's what I grew up on. So I can't. Hey, it's just the reality. Like,
but I got to a certain point where spankings didn't work anymore. Now it was like, you ain't going nowhere for a month. That hurt more than the spanking. Please give me the spanking.
Yeah.
So you got to know how. Like if I'm coaching a team, I can yell at that one, but this one I got to pull them to the side and be like, you should have caught that ball, right? All right, get the next one. And that kid, I'm like, catch the ball. I need you to catch the ball. Right. I'm in her face.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I can do that with her. Matter of fact, she thrives on that. But if I did that with that other kid, she would cry for 4 days and shut down. So I have to be able to, and I don't know if it's teachable because I didn't learn that from anywhere, I don't think, but I have an ability to do that because I have a coaching style when I'm coaching corporately with a big group, like with a team. But when I'm with one-on-one with an athlete, I'll make sure that they understand why I said what I said and why I said what I said the way that I said it. So I have the emotional intelligence to know what triggers an individual. You got some kids who don't deal with conflict, and it could be something going on at home. You don't even know what kids are going through. A lot of kids are going through a lot,
for sure,
and a lot of kids are not as resilient as we were coming up, where they can compartmentalize and leave that over here and show up to the field and I'm good. They carry that stuff with them.
Yeah.
And it's just a matter of one little thing that you may say or do as an adult or coach that could possibly trigger that and send kids spiraling down. And you have to be incredibly sensitive to the emotions of others, which is really what emotional intelligence is. I'm exceptionally sensitive to other people's emotions, and I deal with them on the level of where their emotions at.
I like that. I think I do the same. I think I do the same.
Especially coming out of COVID. I mean, people, at first I didn't understand. People say COVID kids, and they're like, "That's a COVID kid." I'm like, "COVID kid? COVID was 4 years ago." But that's just me. But now I'm starting to understand it differently because those kids missed a whole year and a half of emotional social development.
Damn, I didn't even think about that.
And right. I didn't understand when people used to say COVID kids. Like COVID kids? What are you talking about? So I'm learning. Like I try to get better. As we go along. But I think you can kind of see how certain kids rock. Like I got a kid who she came in the other day. She was like, I said, "So what other sports you play?" And she was like, I play flag football. I said flag football because that's not normal for a girl to come in and say they play flag football. I don't get that a lot. I was like, so what position do you play? She said, I'm wide receiver and I'm center. I was like, okay. And she has a certain air of confidence about her. So I talk to her a little bit differently than I do with somebody that comes in and they don't have that air of confidence. They're kind of slumped over and then you can see that they have some confidence issues. So I kind of need to build them up a little bit differently when I talk to them. It's just my tone might change.
For sure. I think it's so funny because like people that are really good at what they do can sense the people that's confident. A lot of people are like, like parents or other people like, how do you know that person's confident? It's like, oh no, I just know they got it. And it's like a snap of a fingers to know. Right. It's not even a second thought. It's like, it's kind of like, what color is the sky? It's blue. That's how easy it is to process confidence. Like for certain people, You know what I'm gonna tell you?
You ever been? I know they probably got this because you've been living in LA, so you understand like in California. So right. You pull up, like I pull up to a stoplight, right? And you know how they got the dudes that like wash your windows and stuff.
For sure, yeah.
Like those kinds of people are really, really good at reading people.
Oh, what? Yeah, great.
Because he's not going. I know he's not going to touch my windshield.
Right. Right.
He already looked and saw who I am and he's like, I'm not touching that man's windshield. But you're gonna go on their windshield without even asking them. Because you could look at that person through their car and be like, I'm doing their windshield, whatever. And I ain't even worried about it. I'm like, I know for a fact.
He ain't coming over here. Nah, real talk. Yeah, nah. That make a lot of sense, especially in LA.
Like they know who they're gonna mess with. And it's the same thing. Everybody, you can read the situation.
Yeah. It's like it's easily walking in the gym, and I think it's so funny. Whenever because I love like basketball, so watching the pro-ams when like pros go to these pro-ams and they just shut it down 50-60, and they're like some are bench players, some it ain't even the mega stars that really go to a lot of pro-ams, and and people like, man, that's crazy. I'm like, nah, he's crazy confident. Like, don't get it. But you got to understand, a person that's very good on a team, if you on a team with Steph, yes, you that. But when you look, you like, God, man, that's Steph Curry, So sometimes the confidence might get humbled or whatever. But when you out just playing and it's a joy, you're going to be able to see his confidence as soon as he touched the ball. Like, I'm about to go. Now I get to step into what I can do. So
here's one thing I'm going to say about Steph. Since you keep bringing Steph up.
I love his confidence, his mind.
He needs to learn how to show up in the last 2 minutes of a game.
Oh, don't do that.
Just go look at the numbers.
Hold on, talking about this year. No. Wait, hold on, time out. Listen. First off, my friends gonna watch this. They're gonna be like, "Are you defending Steph?" They know I don't even like Steph. Well, I love Steph, but I was a Chris Paul fan, so I was built to hate Steph.
Okay.
But this year, man, I really felt like one of the best things was for them to lose in the play-in, and the only reason why I say this is because I was looking at the numbers, and I always reference things like back to whenever I see these great players putting in all this work just to get their team. So he was burnt out this year. Clay didn't show up. Let's just keep it honest.
I'm not just talking about this year. I'm talking about over the course of years.
So you're saying the last?
I'm saying his fourth quarter, last half of the fourth quarter numbers need to be better. That's when it matters. That's all.
Okay, all right. I can't even really. Because right now I'm torn. It's like I want to be like, nah, but then I want to agree too. But my friend's gonna kill me anyway because I'm defending Steph. Trust me, like
I get it.
You got me right now. I ain't gonna lie, you got me because whenever they watch this, they gonna be like, yeah, you like Steph. You see how you
go check it out. Just go check it out.
Okay,
go check out the numbers.
I'm gonna have to go check it out, and we go have to resurface it.
Numbers never lie. But you know what I was thinking about? Remember when we was kids and it would be like we'd be like 12 years old, 11 years old down at the court.
Right.
And you gotta pick a team.
Yeah.
And if you got 15 people on the sideline, you gotta pick teams, but you don't know who those people are.
Right.
You have to be able to look at them and be like,
oh yeah,
I'm not picking that person.
Yeah.
I'm picking that because you can kind of tell.
Yeah, for sure. It's
the same thing.
Yeah, I agree.
You could eyeball that.
Yeah.
Like you could eyeball that in a tryout when people start walking in. When somebody walks into a tryout situation, or when somebody walks in the room, I'm like, that's a baller.
Yeah, basketball is so easy too.
You can tell.
Yeah. You could tell.
I can tell.
Yeah,
I can make cuts in the I can make cuts in the parking lot.
Yeah. Nah, real talk. That's really how. That's how
like you don't even got it. You don't even walk like you believe in yourself. You don't even walk like you believe in yourself. There's nothing I can do with that.
You're definitely right. Because it's so easy to distinguish. But oh my God, you got me with that Steph thing. God damn, you got me. I ain't gonna lie, you got me. Because I agree, but I can't say I agree. But you got
you. I understand.
You got me. I give it to you. But last two, and I'm gonna let you out of here.
We good.
All right. What are 3 lessons your parents taught you that help you in your life today?
So my mom got up every morning. I never remember that woman ever being home like, I'm sick, I can't go to work. First of all, she couldn't. She wouldn't have got paid for it if she didn't go to work. There wasn't no such thing as sick days back then, and not what she did.
Right.
And she got up every morning. We didn't have a whole lot, but she made sure that we didn't know we didn't have a whole lot. Like, we didn't really feel it.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, we would probably be the go-to people if somebody had to knock on the door and be like, yo, can I borrow a cup of sugar? Or can I get a couple of eggs? Like, we would be the go-to door to be knocked on.
Right.
But we was probably like a paycheck away from being that. So watching her get up to go to work to take 2 buses.
That New York stuff is crazy.
And the consistency of it, I appreciated it. And for me to witness that kind of helps me to have a perspective for myself. And I take care of her the same way now. And her when she's older, right? So I take care of her the same way that she took care of me, and I'm grateful that I have the ability to take care of her the way that she took care of me. And I wish I could even do more, but it's a thing where she was that for me.
I love that.
And then my dad, in terms of my spiritual foundation and my ability to be a critical thinker. And my critical and analytical skills and being able to look at something and see it for what it is, but then see it for what it was, and also see it for what it can possibly be. I learned how to think. He helped me to develop my mind to see things differently than most people see things. That's and so those are a couple things. And there's something that my family is a family of servants, right? So seems like all my family members on both sides were very service oriented. We were really good at helping people, and we had a passion for others. And we almost to a fault. Sometimes you can help other people, and you're like, what about me? Like I need to get me right.
Right.
But you're so passionate about like seeing others' pain. Like what I do is driven out of that. I work with mostly female athletes. I work with probably like 85% female athletes, and I can relate to female athletes because being an African American, you talked about being African American, because I can relate to being marginalized because of something that you can't really help. That as a female, you can't help what your gender is. That's your gender.
Right.
And as an African American, we can't help that we don't look like what you think we should look like.
Facts,
right?
Yeah,
but it doesn't really change who I am, though. And it doesn't really change what a female is. And she's no less because she doesn't have a penis, and I'm no less because my skin is what my skin color is, right?
Same thing.
But I think when I identify with that, the passion that I have for helping the underdog is where that drives what I do. Like I don't go to bed, or I go to bed 2:00 every morning. I stay up to 2:00 at night because I don't have an off button. I'm always researching. I'm always studying something. I'm always learning because I want to make sure that when I walk in the room, I know my shit. You could bleep that out.
For sure. For sure,
like I gotta know what I'm talking about. Like really know what I'm talking about. And if I say something out my mouth, I can back it up with science, research, and data. And if it's not something I can research with science, research, and data, I will preface it with, this is my opinion. Otherwise, it's all fact. I ain't got to say that. Just trust me, it's fact. If I don't say this is my opinion, then it's facts.
Yeah, I like that.
That's what I come from. I'm like, we have books. Like my house, we had books wall to wall. I came up. That's what I came up in.
Yeah.
Like learn, study again, question everything, research the research, make sure they got it right before you open up your mouth. My dad used to be like, I'm like, what does this word mean? He's like, go look it up. What's this word mean? Go look it up. He knew what the answer was. He was teaching me how to go look things up.
Right. Okay. Yeah,
you know?
That. I like
so
that.
these are little things, but those are the things that shaped me, informed me, and made me who I am. But my foundation of why I'm passionate about what I do, because it's rooted in helping people. Whether you bring your 7-year-old in or you bring your 17-year-old in, it don't matter. I'm driven to want to help them.
I love that. Same way on my end.
Yeah.
But I love that. Mm-hmm. So, man, when we get to the last part, this is called Decoding the Real. This is where I just give you a real moment. And in today's time, people don't like giving people just due or just giving people their flowers until it's this late. But this is just where I just give you a real moment and just tell you. So, first off, man, watching your page and just watching how, not only do you provide, the services of help hidden, but I see the little things that you do as far as providing confidence and life lessons intermittent with your training. Like how you talk to the kids, how you tell them certain things, how you get them to think, how you ask questions, because a lot of trainers are just teaching. You literally ask them a question. Like, why would you do this? Or, why do you think like this? Or why would you swing? So you actually ask questions. And I think that, what you're doing, man, is great. I'm definitely a big fan. I also have a cousin. He does like sort of the same training as you of like hitting. He used to play in collegiately or whatever. And he's a fan as well. But man, I'm grateful that you wanted to that you were able to come on my pod. I hope you had a great time. I definitely enjoyed you. And man, I had a great convo. And man, I appreciate you for sure, man. For sure. Thank you so much for what you do. Thank you for whatever losses you done been through to get to this point, whatever hard moments, because I just want to say I appreciate that, because I wouldn't have never met you, and I don't know who else would have never met you if you didn't fight through those tough times. So thank you. All real, man. For sure.
All right, thank you.
Applause, I ain't done yet. Immortality got me weary since Kobe died. I got this watch on my arm, but I'll never know.